Well, hey everybody, I am Gabby, the director of the Well, and I am on here with my lovely campus directors for the Well. They lead our groups there, prom preps, all this stuff, so they are fantastic. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves really quick, and then we'll just get rolling. We wanted to talk about kind of what it looks like, what life looks like for us, and probably some of you all right now, how we're handling kids' schoolwork and schedules and working from home or all of that. And then also just how we're talking to our kids about what is going on in the world and in our country and communities right now. So, y'all just introduce yourselves real quick. Whoever wants to go first.
I'm at the Williamsburg campus.
And how many kids do you have?
I have two kids, Jackson's 10 and Paris is 8.
Well, I'm Erica. I am at the London campus, and I have three girls, Ava, who is 10, and Abby and Katie, who are 6. And they're twins.
I'm Elizabeth, and I'm at the Somerset campus. I have three kids. Riley is 7. Carson will be 6 at the end of the week, and Micah is 4.
Oh, I forgot to say that I have two kids. I have two daughters. Emerson is 5 and Juliet is 4. So most of us have pretty young. What's the oldest age? What was it, 10 out of all of us? Yeah. So for you parents of teenagers, I'm really sorry and we're praying for you. But at least they can feed themselves, so that's good. So yeah, let's talk really quick. First, tell us what all you all do, like outside the home or inside the home.
Well, for me, I am a stay-at-home mom. I homeschool my older two. I send the youngest one to preschool. There's a reason. And I also teach clinicals for the community college 2 days a week. And then I lead well groups and help with that and organizing stuff through this.
Suzanne, what about you?
Well, I am the kids director at the London campus, so I do all things kids related there. I'm also the central director for all the other campuses, so I assist the other campus directors with engaging kids and parents and creating kids environments for the Creek Church. And then other than that, I help with all things the Well. Basically, the Well groups. I assist with prom prep and all of that. So yeah.
And fitness.
Yes, and fitness. Yes.
My day job is being a first grade teacher, so I'm usually at school right now, and now I'm being the homeschool mom that my kids probably don't really enjoy very much. But anyway, it is what it is.
And can we also just take a minute and talk about how everybody looks so cute, and I'm over here barely making it today. So yeah, I went out in public like this, multiple places. It's fine. This is working from home with children. So speaking of, let's talk about that because everybody has, their typical schedules and their kids going to school or some of them going to school, and mine usually go to preschool. And now everything is disrupted and shifted. And so I want to know from you all what that looks like schedule wise. Like, do you have a schedule? Is it flexible? Are you able to make time for schoolwork? Like, what's going on? What does that look like?
So our typical schedule is that the older two kids get their school done while the younger one is at preschool. So obviously, that's out the window right now. His attention span is about 10 to 15 minutes at the most. And so that throws a huge kink in the other two because they are younger. So if they see him playing, they want to go play too. So our schedule is a lot more flexible right now, and I try to basically just steal moments with the older to get some schoolwork done, and doing other things like cooking and letting that be our living math. Um, and just utilizing your everyday stuff to try to get stuff done instead of the worksheets and those types of things is basically where we're at this week.
Yeah, I feel that. What about you, Erica?
Well, my girls, they were used to the school schedule, so I've tried my best to kind of stay on that. I used to stay at home with the girls, so when all of this, working at home stuff started, I was frantically looking for my, old stay at home mom schedule. And, anyways, it had to be updated because the girls were much younger then. But for the most part, our day is pretty flexible, like Liz was saying. I mean, they go in and out of attention when it comes to their homework, and I have to redirect, and then I'm trying to do work, and so it's a constant battle. But we're slowly getting there. I just try to stick to a time. We do as much as we can during this time of the day, and then they know that during this time of the day they've got lunch and snack and that sort of thing. It just having some predictability seems to help them. So that's kind of how we're doing it.
What about you, Suzanne? Since you are a teacher, but not necessarily your kids' teachers, so.
Exactly. There was a reason when they were in first grade that I was not their teacher. So this is a little different, but I do think my kids do better with some structure and the schedule, so I'll try to keep that for them. Even when I'm home for the summers and not teaching, we still have somewhat of a fluid schedule where we know what we're going to be doing in the morning and then in the afternoon. So since we've been home, we've been trying to get our schoolwork done in the morning, and they're pretty good about it just because they know if they don't get that done, then they're not going to get to do some free time activities later on. Because I'm still juggling, sending messages to my students and parents, and trying to help them out as well. So that gives me a little bit of time to work. But they've done pretty good. But I've tried to mix in a lot of, like Liz said, cooking with them, a lot of playing games. We try to be outside at least for 30 minutes or an hour every day, even when it's a little bit colder, just so we can breathe some fresh air and move around a little bit. And we just try to do some other online things that are fun and not so much of just a worksheet, pencil paper type thing. So it's hard trying to find that balance between what is too much and still give their little minds some time to be creative and do things that they want to do as well. But we're making it.
So I think we're all just like, we're making it. Liquid patience, we're making it. No, that's actually what it says inside my cup here, so that's why I said it. For me, today was the second day that I attempted school stuff. Luckily, mine are so young that I don't have to be I do have a ton of worksheets. My mom is their preschool teacher, so I'm flooded with a bunch of worksheets for them to do for this year. So I did break one of those out. Actually put it in a file folder. I've never used it before. So fancy. I'm like, that's how organized I am. I put it in a file folder. And that's about it. So I don't even have a schedule for my own self. So it's been really challenging to even come up with a schedule for right now. So all I can speak to is this morning, because this was the first time we tried it. But literally, with a 4 and 5-year-old, their attention span, like Liz said, is so tiny. So we did 10 minutes of an online lesson where my mom recorded their morning drills. And Emerson, I'm learning, hates learning. So there's that. She just doesn't like to sit there and listen or just sit and speak back. Like, she has to be active. So we marched around the room and did lesson like ABCs and numbers. And then they have a trampoline that they got for their birthday, which is unfortunately in my living room right now. But they jumped on the trampoline to do their numbers. So they did numbers with bounces and all of that. And yeah, so, and then they had like some color time and all that. So we tried to get that out in the morning, but it's literally like 10, 15-minute intervals of things. And then obviously housework, like trying to get them to do housework. And I don't usually like for them, like I want to help them like learn how to cook. I have to learn how myself first, but sometimes I feel like it just takes too long to teach them to do something. But I'm over here now thinking, why am I in a hurry? Like I have like this is it. I'm here. Why am I in a hurry? So they've been helping me cook and all of that, and so that has been interesting. But what other things like are y'all trying to do other than like the education work and schoolwork that has come? Like what other things? I know some of y'all mentioned like cooking and stuff. Is there anything else that you're utilizing? Just like life skills in general?
Well, we are doing board games most evenings, so that's been really nice for us. I don't know if they're learning a lot of life skills through that, but we are getting family time together.
Conversation.
Yes, yes. But they're definitely enjoying extra time with us, which I feel like is special. In the evenings when we would normally be going to dance or gymnastics or things like that, we now have time together and we're doing more meals together. And like you were saying, all of you guys have talked about your kids cooking with you. That's sort of the same thing. My girls, the other day we were making French toast. And Ava, she's always been super scared to flip like pancakes or anything like that. She's just always scared of burning herself.
Me too.
And she conquered her fear. So I was super proud of her. She was like, Mom, I did it. And so she flipped all of the French toast the other day and she was so proud of herself. And so, it's little things like that, moments that maybe before I would have rushed through that I have time to stop and see those. And those are really special for us right now.
And what's really cool too is like those little things, that's where like they're going to be so much more confident because they know, like, even just that little victory of flipping, which it took me a long time to figure out how to flip a stinking pancake. So a 10-year-old, like, she's got me way beat. But like those little things grow confidence, and now she'll, like that goes over more than just flipping French toast. So that's a huge thing to be able to do and learn, is just the confidence in that. So you mentioned board games. What else are you all doing, like family time and everything? Anything special that you don't normally get to do that now you get to do?
A lot of games, a lot of cooking, outside time that they usually don't get to have unless it's maybe on the weekends. But I even found myself like they're riding bikes, they're riding scooters, and moving along the road. And the first couple of days, I found myself putting my AirPods in and just listening to a podcast or music or whatever. And then after a couple of days, I was like, "This is crazy. Take these out and talk to your kids." So that was kind of a aha moment for me, was just to, even though I'm outside with them, I wasn't really with them.
Yeah.
So taking that time to do, just to connect with them, and letting Kara stick flowers yesterday and putting them in my hair. Little sweet moments like that you don't usually have, like you can find a lot of them now. So that's been good.
Yeah. What about you, Liz? Because I know, like, you're already kind of like home with them most of the time anyways. So is there anything different that y'all have been able to incorporate
I mean, I think the biggest thing for us is just letting them do more. Um, just like y'all, them cooking sometimes was a disaster. And then I would have a huge mess. And, we still had people coming over to our house, even though I homeschooled. So it was, there was that dynamic of I'm home all day. I've got to keep the house clean because I know people are coming over at night. So now people are not coming over at night because they can't. So it does slow it down of, hey, guess what? If there's brownie mix on the counter for an extra few minutes, I'm not freaking out trying to run around and get everything cleaned up. So I think that helps with our kids just being like, hey, it's okay. Like, I'll put the shoes away later. That kind of stuff in our evenings anyway.
Yeah, it definitely disrupts our crazy schedule and makes us slow down. And I've also, praise report, I'm caught up on my laundry. So, hey-o, the house isn't clean, but the laundry is clean. So, one thing at a time. But, so what do you have any, like, advice or anything? And I know not everybody gets to be home with their kids right now. And for those who don't get to be, that sucks. It just sucks. Because it's hard. It's hard. You got to find a sitter and all that stuff. And the sitter has to do their homework and schoolwork with them. So I know that's hard for those. But for those of people who are home with them, who maybe aren't always have, like, now they're working from home and dealing with kids at home or whatever the case may be, do you all have like a piece of advice that has been helpful for you all in navigating this that you would say to them or suggest or anything?
I think the biggest thing, because I did go from working full time to being at home when we moved, and that was a huge transition. So I feel everybody's pain. It's hard, it's very difficult, but realizing that your kids are learning with everything. Literally everything that you do throughout the day, your kids are picking up on it and learning something from you. And you may not hear it today, you may not hear it tomorrow, but most likely within the coming months, you're going to start being like, oh, they did learn something while we were at home. And so just being aware that they are learning something kind of helped me de-stress, one, because I wasn't as stressed about it, but also being aware of things I was saying and doing because I knew my kids were picking them up.
Yeah, that's really important. It's a good thing to
know. I think we have to remember that, the ones we're talking about, they're kids, they're young, and yes, it's important to remember to do some schoolwork and things like that, but just to also make sure that they're okay and to talk to them if they have any questions about what is going on in the world. They do overhear the news. They do overhear us talking about things, asking us, like, what's going on, what's going to happen, and being honest with them, um, just to let them know that, we're in this together and it's going to be okay. Like, we're going to come out on the other side and we're going to be okay. And just new for everybody. So it's okay to be a little bit scared, a little bit anxious, that we're going to get through it together.
What about you, Erica?
I think for me, the biggest thing is being flexible and being open and honest. Where I have, my girls are 4 years apart, and Ava asks a lot more questions than Abby and Katie do. And so being open and honest with her, but also taking into account the fact that she's probably going to tell them something. So letting her know, hey, your sisters don't need to know all the details about certain things. But just knowing where your kids are at and getting on their level, and then being flexible, like we've all talked about today, when it comes to organizing your day around them, and your work. Just know that it's not gonna be perfect. I've yet to have a perfect day, so be flexible.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would, I would, I love all of those things. And I think I would say too, is just like y'all said, none of us have ever been here before. And, or for some of us, like some of you, like Erica, like, you had stayed home before and now you're not, and now you're back in it again. And, but also juggling, other responsibilities as well. But so I think just it's important to be like, give yourself some grace. Like, it's okay. It's okay if you don't have the scheduled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things like every hour planned out. I'm saying that to myself because I don't. But like, it's okay if the day doesn't go the way that you wanted it to, or if you snapped at your kid for a second and like just reel it back in. Like, just give yourself some grace. You've never been here before, and also give your kids some grace because they've never been here before. And so it's just kind of being aware of that, I think, is helpful. And that way, you're not so hard on yourself, you're not so hard on your kids, because you're all learning this together. We're all learning this together. But really quick too, I want to know kind of how you talked to your kids about what's going on. I know Suzanne kind of hit on it a little bit there, but how you have explained it to your kids and how you've talked to them about it and how you're still continuing to talk to them about it. My kids' biggest concern is that we can't go inside of a restaurant. They really, really want to go inside of a restaurant and store, and we're just not letting our girls go in the store with us right now. But yeah, so they're just like, I want to go to Fazoli's. And so that's really all they care about right now, because they're 4 and 5 and they don't quite understand it all. But what is that like for you all? How did you explain it, and how are you continuing to talk about it?
I let my kids watch one of the governor's addresses that he did, the one that was specifically for kids. So it was a little bit more on their level, but then at the end, he gave some time just to kind of turn to your kids and see if they had questions. So that just kind of opened up some communication for them. And so I think now they feel a lot more comfortable asking us questions about it. I try to listen to it most days, or at least a little bit of it, just so I know what's going on. I don't like to watch the news, but I do feel like I need to be informed about what's going on. So if I think there's something new that they need to know, I'll share it with them. But other than them just asking questions and giving them answers, I've tried not to overshare, and that seems to be okay with them right now. And I think they just kind of see it as, they know people can get sick from this, and we just want to do our part to prevent that happening to someone that we know.
Yeah. What about you, Liz? I know that you did like a fun kind of activity to show them what's going on.
So we did the where you put water in a bowl and you put pepper in the bowl, and they stick their finger in it, and the pepper will stick to their finger, and then you have them put soap on their hands, and then they do the exact same thing, and the pepper disperses, and so the pepper represents germs. And so they were able to kind of see the importance of why we want to wash our hands and all that kind of stuff, so that they could actually like visualize, hey, germs are on your hands. And as far as that was concerned, that was pretty good for the boys. Riley has started asking a few more questions. She's a little bit older. She's kind of picked up on more of our stress and our anxieties and not being able to go places. And so I've just tried to be a little bit more attentive with her and just explaining, hey, we're not scared of this, but we do want to be respectful of others. And we don't know if we were ever exposed at some point.
Yeah.
And we don't want to cause anybody else to be sick either. And that's kind of helped her a lot just with dealing with that. So
yeah, that's a cool way of doing it. What about you, Erica? What have y'all done?
Well, my girls had learned a lot about the virus already before school had decided to dismiss. So they had learned all the proper hand washing techniques, and they would come home and tell me. And so because of that, I had to go ahead and explain to them the importance of that. And then our spring break trip got canceled. So, I went ahead and explained the whole reason why all that happened, because that was their biggest thing, especially Abby and Katie. They wanted to know, why can't we go, to spring break, and why can't we go outside and play with the neighbors? And that's been a bit of a challenge to explain to them. But Parent Q had released some crisis guides and conversation guides for how to handle certain questions with kids, and those have been helpful for mine. But honestly, it's all about being open and knowing where it is that they're at, and sharing as much detail as you think you need. Like I said, my older one, Ava, she needs a little more detail than Abby and Katie do. So we've been doing that, and each night we've also been praying, and that's been really helpful in calming and easing their fears and their anxieties about some of this. So yeah.
That's awesome. So mine are just like, why can't we go into Fazoli's? And so we've not shared a ton, because they're 4 and 5, but we've just been like, a lot of people are sick right now, and we don't want to spread it, and so it's just best if we stay inside right now. And that's pretty much what we have to reiterate every day, because they forget that we have said that. But I did want to mention that of the Parent Q apps, if you follow the Creek Kids on social media, you all just posted all of those things, things that you can do with your kids and tell your kids and stuff, in dealing with that. So I think that's really great. And obviously, the best thing that we can do that's going to ease their mind is pray for your kids and pray with your kids. And that's obviously the best thing that we can do as well. But in just the final minute, I want you all to share really quickly how you are making time for Jesus when everyone is home with you. So how are you juggling that? What does it look like for you? Are you handling that or juggling it well? Because I know we're all going to struggle with that. But just really quick, just like in 1 minute, like what does it look like for you all?
Mine's a little different every day. I try to be intentional and get up and have that time while everybody's still asleep. But there's been some more times than not, I've been anxious at nighttime. And so it's usually after, you get the news and everything. And so I've actually kind of swapped it. And like last night after everybody was asleep, including Nate, like I just went into the living room and I just basically opened up the Bible and just sat there and journaled and read scripture and prayed scripture. And that was just very peaceful and calming for myself, before I went to get in bed.
A little bit easier to do time in the morning, just because I can keep my light off and the kids will think that I'm still sleeping. So I can just sit there and go through the devotional or whatever it is that I've got for that day. And I think what's really been helpful is checking in with my small group and just, checking on them, seeing if they need anything, and just kind of sharing our highs and lows for the day. I think that adult connection is good too. I love being with my kids, but there's some things that you don't want to talk to them about. So finding that time to, just check in with adults is good too. But I've been trying to do one in the morning, and then I've been trying to do some time with the kids, like right after they eat or while they're eating, so that they are sitting still for the moment.
Yeah. That's awesome. What about you,
Well,
Erica?
I'm kind of a combo of the two. Sometimes I'll do it in the morning, and then sometimes in the evening. So I've been, my kid volunteers at the church, we've been doing a Bible devotional together through the YouVersion app. So, in the morning or in the evening, I'll follow up with that. And that's been super helpful because, you can converse with one another through that. And so, like Suzanne was saying, it's really nice to have that adult interaction that, you don't you're not really getting a whole lot of right now if you're staying at home. So I've been doing that, and then also the well devotional that we just started on YouVersion. I've really been enjoying that a lot as well. So for me, that's usually the times when I'm doing it right before bedtime or in the morning time. I'll have that time with Jesus. So
Yeah. For me, I'm not an early riser. I will never be the first one up. Most of the time, the girls are waking me and Ryan up. Uh, so I definitely can't get it in before anyone is awake. So usually I'll do it like mid morning. Sometimes it's in the afternoon, but it's usually with children crawling all over me, and that's cool. I'm just kind of like, sometimes I would do it at, like, once I got to the office, I just take like 10 minutes and just do it there, but I can't, obviously do that right now. So, um, yeah, I've just kind of been thinking, okay, you know what? I'm going to model this for my girls. Like, they're awake. They're going to see me do this. I'm going to tell them, like, hey, girls, like, mommy is having some time with Jesus. I'm reading the Bible because it's important. And, sometimes they come over and sit in my lap, and sometimes they go do their thing. But yeah, so that's just kind of how it's been rolling for me. But of course, definitely the YouVersion study that we've been doing has been super helpful. I've been learning a lot about the Lord's Prayer just from that quick little 5-minute read. It's been really great. And then being able to converse with other people has been wonderful with that too. But anyway, so yeah, thank you all for giving up your time when your family is all at your house. And my kids are with my mom right now, so that's why it's so quiet on my end. But thank you all so much. And for everybody watching, hopefully some of this was helpful. And, we're all just kind of learning this and navigating this new normal together. And if you all are doing something that has been helpful for you guys, then please comment and share it with us, because we all need to be learning together. And then be on the lookout, because we're going to have groups launch in the upcoming week, and you'll get to be connecting with women like this exact way on Zoom or house party apps. So we're really looking forward to that. But ladies, thank you all so much. I'm glad we get to meet this way, even if we're all in our different homes. So it's kind of fun. Yeah, and we love you all.